The secret origin of Spirited Away isn't one secret. It's a chain of 5. Each clue we follow will unlock a different hidden layer of the film. Most people see a beautiful story about a girl and some spirits. But we are going to show you the 5 hidden worlds you were never meant to see. This is the real story of Spirited Away. Our investigation begins where the story does, with a single bizarre event that most people misunderstand. It is not the main story, but it is our first clue, the moment Chihiro's parents turn into pigs. This scene is a key, and it unlocks the film's hidden historical context. When the parents discover the feast, the father's first instinct is to reassure Chihiro with the logic of the marketplace. "I've got cash and credit cards," he says. Don't think of it as a throwaway line. It's actually a window into a specific time and place. This is the mindset of Japan's bubble economy in the late 1980s. For a few short years, a storm of economic speculation created an illusion of infinite wealth. It was an era of extreme excess, a time when a generation came to believe that money was a universal key, capable of opening any door and solving any problem. The parents' entitled attitude is a direct reflection of this historical moment. They eat, they consume, with the boundless, thoughtless confidence of a generation that truly believed the feast would never end. And the setting itself is a ghost of that era. The eerily beautiful town is designed to look like an abandoned theme park. During the bubble, countless extravagant resorts and parks were built across Japan. When the bubble burst in the early 90s, many were simply abandoned, left as decaying monuments to the era's greed. The parents are literally walking through the ruins of their own generation's folly. This is not just a theory. The director, Hayao Miyazaki, has confirmed it. He has spoken about living through the bubble and stated that he felt many people around him had become greedy. In his own words, he saw them turn into pigs. He created this scene as a direct judgment at that time. So our first clue reveals the when of our story. It locks the film into a specific historical trauma. The parents' transformation is the key that opens the first door, revealing a world haunted by the ghost of a nation's greed. But this greed didn't just stay in the past. It left scars on the world itself. The bubble's mantra was, "Develop at all costs," a philosophy that inflicted deep wounds upon the natural world. And that leads us directly to our second clue. We've unlocked the history. Now we investigate the consequences. Our second clue is found in 2 of the film's most memorable spirits, the noble Haku and the grotesque stink spirit. Together, they reveal a profound environmental tragedy. Let's start with Haku. He is a powerful, beautiful dragon, the first being who shows Chihiro kindness. But why is a creature of such majesty a servant to the cruel witch Yubaba? The answer is a story of loss. Haku later reveals that he can't go home because he no longer has one. He is the spirit of the Kohaku River, a river that was filled in and paved over to build an apartment complex. He is a refugee of human progress. He lost his home, and in the process, he lost his real name, binding him in servitude to the bathhouse. His story is a quiet, heartbreaking tragedy about nature being tamed, caged, and forced to serve the very forces that destroyed it. This theme of nature being corrupted becomes much louder with the arrival of the stink spirit, a horrifying, foul-smelling mass of sludge that pollutes everything it touches. It is so repulsive that the other workers flee from it. But Chihiro faces it, and as she bathes it, she discovers something hard lodged deep within its body. With the help of the entire bathhouse, she pulls out a twisted mess of human garbage, an old bicycle, fishing lines, pipes, and endless junk. Freed from this pollution, the creature reveals its true form, the ancient, laughing face of a powerful river god. This scene is one of the most powerful environmentalist statements in all of cinema. Miyazaki shows us, in no uncertain terms, that what we call monsters are often just the beautiful, ancient spirits of nature that we ourselves have choked with our waste. The stink spirit was actually a victim, Chihiro's act of cleansing him is a powerful plea for our generation to heal the wounds that the greed of the past inflicted upon the natural world. So we have a history of greed and the environmental damage it caused. But who profits from all this destruction and loss? To answer that, we must investigate the system at the heart of this world, the Aburaya bathhouse. Now, we investigate the system that runs this world. Our third clue is Yubaba's magical contract, the one that binds every worker to the bathhouse by stealing their name. This clue unlocks the film's hidden social commentary, revealing the bathhouse to be a dark allegory for exploitation. When Chihiro begs for a job, Yubaba makes her sign a contract. In a flash of magic, the witch plucks characters from Chihiro's name, leaving her with a new, single name. Senjiro Haku warns her that if she completely forgets her real name, she will never be able to leave. This is more than just a fantasy trope. It's a reflection of a real historical practice. In historical Japan, in systems of indentured servitude, and in the yukaku, or red light districts, it was common practice for a master or madam to take a worker's birth name and give them a professional one. It was a cruel but effective tool of control, a way of severing a person from their family, their past, and their identity, binding them completely to their new life of servitude. With this clue in mind, the entire structure of the bathhouse shifts into a darker focus. Yubaba is not just a witch, but a perfect archetype of the cruel madam, the Yurit. She is a shrewd businesswoman who lives in lavish luxury at the top of the building, while her workers sleep in cramped shared rooms below. She is obsessed with gold and profit, and she controls her employees through intimidation and the magical, unbreakable contract. The bathhouse is a social prison. This well-supported theory reframes the entire film as a coded critique of systems, both historical and modern, that exploit the vulnerable for profit. It's a story about what it means to be a nameless cog in a machine that sees you as a pair of hands to do a job. Chihiro's struggle is not just to survive, but to hold on to her identity in a system designed to erase it. But how does a single person survive all that? Now, we must turn inward to our fourth clue, the quiet, steady transformation of Chihiro herself. The world of the film is dark and complex, but at its center is a story of hope. Our fourth clue is not an object or an event, but a person, Chihiro. Her journey from a sullen, frightened child into a brave, capable young woman reveals the film's profound psychological core. The entire spirit world can be seen as a metaphor for the terrifying, confusing, and ultimately transformative landscape of growing up. At the beginning of the film, Chihiro is defined by what she lacks. She is passive, whiny, and clings to her parents. She is a passenger in her own life. But when she is thrown into the spirit world, she is forced to act. And the way she finds her strength is the key. She finds it through work. In Japanese culture, the concept of hataraku, or meaningful work, is a cornerstone of finding one's place in the world. By scrubbing floors, cleaning tubs, and taking on responsibility, Chihiro forges an identity. She discovers her own competence, her own resilience, and her own worth. The central conflict of her journey is the struggle to remember her name. Yubaba stealing Chihiro and leaving only Sen is a powerful metaphor for the adolescent fear of losing one's identity. As you grow up, the world tries to label you, to put you in a box, to make you Sen. Chihiro's fight to remember her real name is the internal struggle we all face. The fight to hold on to our core self while navigating the pressures of society. Each spirit she encounters can be seen as an adult anxiety she must learn to face. The stink spirit is a lesson in confronting things that are difficult and repulsive. Yubaba is the challenge of dealing with oppressive, unfair authority. And no face is a terrifying lesson in the dangers of loneliness, greed, and emotional emptiness. Without magic or strength, she overcomes challenges with kindness, integrity, and a clear sense of purpose. The film is a psychological map, showing us that the way to navigate the frightening world of adulthood is by finding meaningful work, and never forgetting who you truly are. Chihiro's personal journey gives the story its powerful heart. But the world she navigates, the very stage for her growth, is built on a foundation that is thousands of years old. And that brings us to our final and most ancient clue, the mythological blueprint. We have now reached our final clue, the one that holds the entire structure together. The clue is the spirits themselves, their bizarre forms, their ancient titles, their strange behaviors. They reveal the film's deepest layer. Spirited Away is a modern encyclopedia of Japanese mythology. Every frame is built upon a blueprint laid down thousands of years ago. The central concept of the bathhouse is that it caters to the Yaoyorozu no Kame, a core belief in the Shinto religion that there are 8 million gods and spirits in the world, inhabiting all things in nature. The radish spirit, the duck-like Utori-sama, the silent Kasuga-sama. These are not random monsters. They are modern interpretations of real ancient spirits from Japanese folklore. The bathhouse represents a rest stop for the old gods of Japan. The film's entire premise is based on a real and often tragic folk belief. The original Japanese title of the movie is Sen to Chihiro no Kamikakushi. Kamikakushi means to be hidden by the gods. For centuries in Japan, when a child vanished mysteriously, this was the comforting story that was told. They weren't gone, they had simply been taken, spirited away into the world of the kami. The film takes this piece of real-world folklore and asks, what if it were true? What would that world look like? Even the film's most unique characters are drawn from deep mythological roots. No Face, the lonely, consuming spirit, is a perfect embodiment of a gaki, or a hungry ghost, from Buddhist mythology. Gaki are tormented beings who suffer from an insatiable appetite for a particular substance, a spiritual affliction born of deep desire in their former life. No Face's desperate need for attention and his horrifying rampage of consumption is not just a fantasy, but a depiction of a well-known spiritual curse. And finally, Chihiro's journey itself follows the path of Japan's most sacred creation myth. In the ancient texts, the god Izanagi journeys to Yomi, the land of the dead, to retrieve the goddess Izanami. When he leaves, she warns him not to look back, but he does, with horrifying consequences. This is the oldest story in Japan. So when Haku gives Chihiro her final test, a single rule that will grant her freedom, don't look back, he is echoing the most ancient taboo in the nation's spiritual history. Chihiro succeeds where the god failed, proving she has finally mastered the rules of this ancient world. Now, let's step back and see the full, secret picture they reveal. The secret origin of Spirited Away is not one thing, but a complete 5-layered world, with each layer resting upon the last. It is a story that argues that our modern historical sins, like the greed of the bubble economy, inflict deep environmental wounds upon our world. This damage and greed combine to create corrupt social systems, like the bathhouse, that exploit the vulnerable. To survive these external prisons, one must undertake a profound psychological journey inward, a journey of finding purpose through work and holding onto one's true identity. And finally, the map for this entire journey, the rules, the players, and the ultimate stakes is provided by the timeless, unshakable foundation of mythology. Miyazaki created a masterpiece that operates on every level. It is a story that says that to navigate the traumas of modern history and society, and to heal the wounds we've inflicted upon nature, we must undertake a difficult personal journey, one that is guided by the wisdom of our oldest spiritual truths. It is at once a time capsule of a nation's past, a warning about its future, and a prayer for the children who must live in it. It is the story of a world you were never meant to see, but will never be able to forget. Spirited Away shows us a hidden world of gods and monsters that we must learn to navigate. But what happens when the gods themselves are dying, and humanity is the monster they can't survive? Join us next time as we uncover why.